Good afternoon, students. So today we are going to discuss about last second chapter of our 12th NCERT, which is ecosystem. The second chapter of ecology unit and the sole chapter of that unit ecosystem. In this chapter, we are going to talk about different aspects, different things which come under ecosystem. Your decomposition process, productivity, energy flow, and nutrient cycle. Nutrient cycle is deleted from NCERT by NTA. Now only three things are remain in this chapter for you. That is your nutrient cycle. That is your first one, productivity. Second one is your energy flow, and third one is your decomposition. Okay. So now let's get started with the chapter. So first of all, what is the definition of ecosystem? Ecosystem is the unit of an biosphere or a part of the world in which all the things comes together and they live in a systemic way. Okay, interaction between non-biotic and biotic things means your abiotic and biotic things. The equilibrium, the relationship between biotic and abiotic thing and their surrounding is called ecosystem. Okay, so an ecosystem is a functional unit of nature where living organism, which is your biotic, interact each other and also with the physical environment. The physical environment is your abiotic. Means just like for example, I am standing in this room. Okay, this room is my ecosystem in which I am the living thing. Mosquito, lizard, some insects are also present in this room simultaneously. Air, sunlight, water, okay, temperature, soil, these all are things are also present in this room. Okay, so we all things interacting with each other, then this thing is your ecosystem. Okay, Sir A.G. Tansley coined the term ecosystem and E.D. Odom, father of ecosystem ecology. Okay. Again, E.P. Odom is the father of ecology and your Sir A.G. Tansley is the one who coined the term ecosystem. Okay. Now, ecosystem is of two types. Basically, ecosystems is of two types. First one is your terrestrial ecosystem, the ecosystem which is present on land. And second one is your aquatic ecosystem, which is present in water. Terrestrial ecosystem again is of three types: forest ecosystem, grassland ecosystem, and desert ecosystem. Okay, forest ecosystem, all the forest, the ecosystem which is present inside the forest. There are large trees, small trees, all these things comes together and forms a forest ecosystem. Then your grassland ecosystem, it is the open plains, just like your savanna. Okay, plains in UP, Bihar region. Okay, and desert ecosystem, when we talk about desert ecosystem, we only come in the mind that sand, okay, dry condition. But desert ecosystem is not the meaning that is only talking about desert. It is talking about tundra also, cold desert and hot desert both. Desert ecosystem comprises of both cold desert means your Antarctica, Arctic, and hot desert means your Thar desert, Sahara desert, Kalahari desert, Australian desert, Californian desert. Okay, these all deserts are hot desert, while your Greenland, Alaska, Arctic, Antarctica, all these are your cold desert. Okay, then your aquatic ecosystem. Aquatic ecosystem is of two types. Again, freshwater ecosystem and saltwater ecosystem. Freshwater ecosystem means your rivers, lakes, pond where water is fresh. No salt is present inside the water. And that saltwater ecosystem is your marine ecosystem. Okay, means ocean, sea, eustachians. Okay, these all ecosystem come under your saltwater ecosystem. Now, on the basis of size, there is also type of ecosystems. First one is your mega ecosystem, that is your ocean, sea. Okay. Second one is your macro ecosystem, that is your forest. Then your micro ecosystem, that is pond. Area decreases, name of ecosystem decreases. See, mega, large. Then macro, smaller than mega. Then micro, smaller than macro. Okay. Then nano, that is smaller than micro. Okay. Nano ecosystem example is your raindrop, your mouth, buccal cavity. Okay, these all are the ecosystem in small way. Okay, abiotic forces are there, biotic forces are there, and they are interacting with each other. This makes an ecosystem. Okay, now next. Now we are talking about the components of ecosystem. What are the components? What thing is present inside the ecosystem? So two things I am saying in the definition itself, that one is your abiotic forces and second one is biotic forces. Abiotic forces means your temperature, okay, your sunlight, your land, your air, your water. 5 elements. Okay, these are the abiotic forces present in a ecosystem, which is the component of ecosystem. Okay, and second one is your biotic forces, which is your producer, consumer, decomposer. Producer who make the biomass, consumer who take the biomass, and decomposer who decompose the biomass. Okay, so consumer is of 3 types: your herbivores, which are your primary consumer, then primary carnivore, which are secondary consumer, and then secondary carnivore, which are tertiary consumer. Okay, again herbivore, they are primary consumer, then primary carnivore, they are secondary consumer. Okay, and secondary carnivores, they are tertiary consumers. Okay, now ecosystem structure and function. What are the functions and what is the structure of ecosystem? Now we are going to talk about this. The interaction of biotic and abiotic component result in a physical structure characterized by each type of ecosystem. Okay, now in this we are going to see two things, two functions of ecosystem. First one is your species composition, and second one is your stratification. Okay, which is also called stratification. Okay, this stratification part is also related from NCERT, but for some reference we are going to study that thing. Okay, it gives some idea about the canopy which is present inside the forest. Okay, so first is your stratification in forest. Okay, see, in forest you will find 4 type of different trees. First one, the higher one, the tall one, who occupy the upper floor of the forest, that is your large trees. Okay, then the smaller one, then the trees that is small or medium sized trees. Then third one is your shrubs. Okay, and fourth one is herbs, or we call them ground travelers. Okay, now second we are going to talk about stratification in pond or water bodies. Okay, in this we are having 3 zones: littoral zone, sublittoral zone, and profundal zone. Littoral zone is the zone which is near to the surface of the water. Sublittoral zone is the zone which is below to the littoral zone, and it is the middle area. Okay, where the most of the fishes you can find. Okay, and the profundal zone is the lowest zone of a pond, that you can say that bed, ocean bed, sea bed. That area is your profundal zone. In this profundal zone, you will find different invertebrates like mollusca, echinoderms, hemichordata, chordata, some chordates, urochordata, cephalochordata. Okay, some lower invertebrates also like annelids, escalmanthes, some arthropods also. You will find them here also in this region. Okay, so these are the stratification which is present in water bodies. Okay, now function of ecosystem. First we are talk about the structure of ecosystem. Okay, now what are the functions of a ecosystem? So it is basically having 4 functions. First is your productivity, second one is decomposition, third one is your energy flow, and fourth one is nutrient cycle. This thing is related from NCERT now, and we are not going to discuss this thing because it is not coming neat also. Okay, so we have to basically discuss the 3 functions of ecosystem. First one is productivity, second one is decomposition, and third one is your energy flow. Okay, so productivity, the definition is rate of biomass produced by an organism in a per given time. That is the productivity. The rate of biomass produced is called productivity, is expressed in gram per year or kilocalorie per meter square. Okay, so amount of biomass produced per unit area over a time period by a plant during photosynthesis is called primary productivity. See one thing, productivity is of 2 types: primary productivity and secondary productivity. Okay, then primary productivity again of 2 types. One is your gross primary productivity, and second one is your net primary productivity. Okay, these are the result of one thing. Okay, see, gross primary productivity is the primary productivity which is taken by plant during the light they absorb. Okay, the thing, the biomass which will they produce when they absorb the sunlight, that is gross primary productivity. It is the sum total of productivity produced by a particular plant. Okay, that is your gross primary productivity. Now you minus respiratory loss from gross primary productivity, then you got net primary productivity, or we can say that gross primary productivity minus respiratory loss equals to net primary productivity. Okay, so this net primary productivity is the productivity which you eat. Okay, fruits, vegetables, okay, grass, the cow grazes the grass. Okay, all these things are your net primary productivity which is produced by a plant. Okay, so the same thing is written here. Gross primary productivity is the rate of production of organic matter during photosynthesis. It is also called total photosynthesis. Okay. Net primary productivity is the available biomass for the consumption of heterotrophs. Heterotrophs means us, cow, animals. All the animals are heterotroph. So the thing which is produced by plant and that is eaten by heterotrophs, animals, that is your net primary productivity. And this is the formula for net primary productivity finding: GPP minus R. R is your respiratory loss, GPP is gross primary productivity, and NPP is your net primary productivity. Or we can say that GPP, gross primary productivity, equals to net primary productivity plus respiratory loss. Okay, so primary productivity varies in different ecosystem because it depends on the plant species inhibiting in the area. See, if a species of plant just like C4 plant, which is highly efficient, okay, then they have high productivity. If a land having all the plants which are of C3 category, then they have they have less productivity. Or if an environment which having both C3 and C4 simultaneously, then they have more productivity. Okay, so type of a plant present in a particular area, particular region, it defines the productivity of that region. Okay, second, environmental factor. Environmental factor means temperature, sunlight. That sunlight process make to do photosynthesis. The amount of sunlight is more, then more photosynthesis, then more productivity. So environment also affect the productivity. Then availability of nutrients means soil. We are talking about the soil and the water also. The how much mineralized soil is there, how many types of minerals are present. High mineral content, high productivity. Low mineral content in the soil, low productivity. High fertile soil, high productivity. Low fertile soil, low fertility. Okay, next, photosynthetic capacity of the plant. Why again the same thing, C3, C4 plant. C4 plant are more efficient than C3 plant. Then if more C4 plant in a population of producers, then it have more productivity. When there is less C3, more C3 plants, then there is less productivity because C3 plants are less have power to produce that glucose by photosynthesis process. Okay. Next, now we talk about secondary productivity. Okay. So secondary productivity is that productivity which is produced by heterotrophs. For example, plant is there. Okay. It is eaten by a bird. Okay. And that bird is eaten by tiger. Okay. So the biomass which is produced by that bird eating that plant is called secondary productivity. Or you can say that the biomass of the first consumer or primary consumer is your secondary, that is your secondary productivity. Okay, it is the rate of formation of new organic matter by consumers, the rate of storage of organic matter not used by heterotrophs. Okay, so NCP equals to NPP minus HR. Okay, here HR is energy used by heterotroph in that respiration, in defecation. Okay, on all these processes, the metabolic processes which is run inside the body of heterotroph. Okay, that is your HR. During succession, net community productivity or annual yield decreases. Okay, when you are going from the lower trophic level to higher trophic level, the energy decreases. Okay, the production of energy decreases. The production of secondary productivity decreases. Okay, annual net primary productivity of whole biosphere is equal to 170 billion ton of organic matter. Again, this line is very important. Okay, annual net primary productivity whole biosphere is about 170 billion ton of organic matter. 170 billion ton. Okay, 170 billion ton is the annual productivity of whole biosphere, means whole earth. Okay, out of this 70% of the surface, the productivity of ocean is only 55 billion ton. Means 55 billion ton is produced by your oceans, okay, while remaining minus by 170 by 55 minus, then when you do subtraction from 170 from 55 you get C. So 170 billion ton is the productivity of your biosphere of Earth. Okay, out of that 115 billion ton is produced on land, means on forest, on grasslands, on deserts, on tundra regions, while remaining 55 billion ton is produced by ocean. So my question for all of you, why ocean having 55 billion ton productivity and your land having 115 billion ton productivity? Okay, do answer in the comment section if you know the answer. Okay, in next lecture I will tell the answer for this question. Okay, the question is again I am writing here, why land have more productivity than water? Okay, why land have more productivity than water? Okay, the land ecosystem have by more productivity than water ecosystem. Okay, as you know, Earth is 70% occupied by water and 30% is land, but still your land giving more productivity than your water. Okay, so do answer, drop the answer in comment section. Okay, in next lecture I will give answer of this question. Now next, now this is an diagrammatic view of all these things I told now you, primary productivity, secondary productivity, uska diagrammatic representation है ये. Okay, so this is your gross primary productivity which is 300 joule. Okay, now net primary productivity which is occupied by tissue is 200 joule, and remaining 100 joule will go in respiration. So this 200 joule of energy you eat, okay, in the form of fruit. Okay, now this is your secondary consumer. Okay, primary consumer, secondary consumer, which is doing secondary productivity. Now gross secondary productivity which is 200 joule. Okay, which is coming from your plants. Okay, now this 200 joule of energy inside that consumer heterotroph will be break down into three things. 100 joule will go in the form of feces. Okay, 32 joule of energy is being stored inside the tissue. Okay, and 67 joule of energy has been respired out by the organism in the process of cellular respiration. Okay, so this is the diagrammatic view of primary productivity and secondary productivity. How can you determine primary productivity and secondary productivity by the help of diagram? Okay, next is your decomposition. Next factor, next function of ecosystem, that is decomposition. It is the breakdown of complex organic matter into less complex substances. Okay, means I have a large paper, okay, and I have to break that thing into small pieces. Then this process is called decomposition. Okay, so breakdown of large thing into small, this process is your decomposition. It is a breakdown of complex organic matter by decomposer into inorganic substance like CO2, water, and nutrients. Then this process is called decomposition. It is largely, this is the very important point of view with regarding to decomposition, which is it is largely an oxygenic process. If you remove oxygen from decomposition, it is not decomposition, it is fermentation. Okay, if you remove oxygen from the process of decomposition, then this process is fermentation, not decomposition. Okay, raw material for decomposition is called detritus. All these are detritus, dead body, remains of that plants. Okay, that is the excreta of animal. All these things are your raw material, which is called detritus. Okay, example, dead plant remains. Okay, dead remains of animals and fecal matter. Okay, next, now there is five steps in the process of decomposition. First is your fragmentation, second is leaching, third is catabolism, fourth is humidification, and five is mineralization. Okay, so first we talk about fragmentation. Okay, so fragmentation is the large particles of detritus break down into small particles by detrivores like earthworm. As you know, earthworm. farmers friends. Okay, so when you take earthworm and it destroy the large particles into small particles, then the process is called fragmentation. Okay, now second process is, now that fragmented material will percolate in the soil and make its nutrients mineral inside the soil. So this process is called leaching. Okay, percolation of soluble inorganic nutrients into the soil and precipitate as unavailable salts. Okay, next process is your catabolism. Okay, in catabolism process, your microorganism like fungus and bacteria come in the play. Okay, they start do decomposition, they start to break down the remaining matter into more minute forms. Okay, so fungal and bacterial enzymes convert complex organic compound into simple compound, that is your catabolism. Okay, next process is humification. Okay, means formation of humus. This is very slow process. Okay, it is a very slow process in which the outermost layer of soil, the most fertile layer of soil, which we call humus, is prepared. Okay, so formation of dark colored amorphous substance humus is called humidification. Okay, humification. Then mineralization. Okay, release of mineral by degradation of humus. Microbes help in. Now we are degrade the humus and the minerals which is present in the humus, it will go inside the soil, and this process is called mineralization. This process of mineralization in decomposition is related, it have relation with the nutrient cycles. Okay, all the nutrient cycles are connected with mineralization. Okay, microbes help in this process. The process of this mineralization, it is done by microbes. Okay, so this is a diagrammatic view of representation of your cycle in that decomposition cycle in a terrestrial ecosystem. Okay, in which you have a tree grow in the soil, that green leaf fall to the ground. It will eaten by detrivores and converted into small things. Now it will decompose and will absorb inside the root that soil and will absorb by the tree in the form of nutrient. Okay, so this is a cycle of decomposition in nature. Next is factor influencing decomposition. See, decomposition is a biological process. So it can be influenced by two things. Either it can be happening or either it can not be happening. So what are the factors which increase the rate of decomposition? So that factors which increase the decomposition process is, first thing, the material should be have made up of carbon or nitrogen. Okay, second thing, the outer atmosphere, it should be humid. Okay, and it should be hot, then decomposition process go very fast and very easily. Okay, and if the temperature goes down, atmosphere become dry. Okay, atmosphere become cool. Okay, and that substance, the organic matter which is become decomposed, it contain large amount of lignin. Okay, keratin, chitin like material, then it will slow down the process of decomposition. Okay, so here I am writing this thing, you can see this thing easily. Fast decomposition, slow. So in fast decomposition, first need we have the detritus having large amount of carbon or nitrogen compound. Second is temperature should be high and humid condition. Then your decomposition process become faster. When it becomes slow, let's see. Detritus contain more amount of chitin, lignin or suberin. Then the process of decomposition becomes slow. Second, temperature is low and condition is dry. Then the process of decomposition become slow down. Okay, so these are the factors which influence the process of decomposition, which affects the process of decomposition. Okay, now next factor, we covered two factors, decomposition and productivity. Third functional unit of ecosystem is your energy flow. How the energy will flow from one trophic level to another trophic level, we are going to see in this. all the food chains, all the pyramids. Okay, we are going to see in this part. Okay, so sun is the एक सत्य truth है. Okay, there is one universal truth that sun is the only source of energy on earth. इसके भले से तुम इसके अलावा तुम कितनी भी आर्टिफिशियल एनर्जी बना लो, वो अलग चीज है, बट द ओनली प्योर सोर्स ऑफ एनर्जी ऑन अर्थ इज सन. इस बात को हमेशा याद रखना. ओके, सूरज एकमात्र सोर्स है एनर्जी का धरती पर. ओके, प्योर सोर्स ऑफ एनर्जी ऑन अर्थ, इट्स कमिंग फ्रॉम योर सन. ओके, so sun is the only source of energy for all ecosystem except deep sea hydrothermal ecosystems. Okay, because they have core earth. अर्थ का कोर होता है उनके पास. फ्रॉम दैट कोर ऑफ द अर्थ दे गेट एनर्जी. ओके, अदरवाइज ऑल इकोसिस्टम प्रेजेंट ऑन अर्थ having the source of energy is sun. Okay, of the incident solar radiation less than 50% is photosynthetic active radiation. Okay, see, 100% energy is coming from your sun. Okay, out of that 50% is PAR, photosynthetic active radiation, and out of that 50% plants capture only 2 to 10%. Okay, again, sun giving 100% energy to earth, to all ecosystems. Okay, out of that 100%, less than 50% it is PAR, photosynthetic active radiations. Okay, now that 50%, out of that 50%, plant only take 2 to 10% for photosynthesis. This 2 to 10% is taken by plants to perform photosynthesis. Okay, this is your plants. Okay, so 100% energy is coming from your sun. 50% is your, less than 50% is your photosynthetic active radiation. Out of that 50%, plant only utilize 2 to 10% energy. Okay, so this energy sustained in the entire living world. यही एनर्जी जो है 2 से 10%, this energy, यही एनर्जी पूरी दुनिया को चला रही है. This energy is running all this world. All the fruit you are eating, all the produce.
ऑडियो नहीं आ रहा था, वही देख रहा हूँ मैं. इसमें बैटरी खत्म. एक स्लाइड पहले से बता दो.
इधर
ग्रीन लाइट ऑन.
Okay, so now till now we have studied two functions of ecosystem, that is your productivity and decomposition. Now the third function or last function of ecosystem, not basically last, but according from that NCERT syllabus, it is last. Basically 4 functions are there. That nutrient cycle, it is deleted by NCERT. So basically now we have to study the third one, which is your energy flow. Okay, so the first point in energy flow, the thing which you have already studied in many classes in your junior schools. Okay, that energy, sun is the ultimate source of energy. Okay, for all the ecosystem which is present on the land, or some ecosystem which is present in water. But there is one ecosystem which is your deep water ecosystem. It is run with the help of hydrothermal vents. Yes, the energy which is produced by earth, the energy which is produced by the core of the earth. Okay, hydrothermal vent, this thing is run by the help of energy of sun. Okay, so of the incident solar radiation, less than 50% is photosynthetically active radiation. Plant and photosynthesis in chemosynthetic bacteria fix solar radiation energy to make food. Okay, listen, see, one thing I want to tell you. There's a very intense thing, you have to see that thing. Hundred percent energy coming from sun. Okay, first thing is this. Now, from that 100%, less than 50% is power. Okay, less than 50% is power, means photosynthetic active radiation. Okay, now from this 50%, plants only take 2 to 10%, and in some books it is 5 to 10%. Okay, so this is the energy which is coming from the sun. Okay, this is the energy which is taken by your plant to do photosynthesis. Okay, and this is the thing which is really absorbed by the plant to do photosynthesis. ये power है, it is the light which is used by plant, which is going to be used by plant, but plant only take 2 to 10% or 5 to 10% of this 50%. Okay, so this is the thing, this is the energy which makes and which runs this earth. Okay, जो अर्थ पे इकोसिस्टम चल रहे हैं, जितने भी वेजिटेशन चल रहे हैं, it is because of this 2 to 10%. Okay, this energy sustained in the entire living world. Ecosystem obeys second law of thermodynamics. They need a constant supply of energy to sustain the molecule. It helps in the contractant to the entropy. Okay. Next, the flow of energy from the sun to the producer and then consumer is unidirectional, and it's keeping with the first law of thermodynamics that says that energy is transferred from one form to another form. Okay. Next, now we are talk about producers, consumers, decomposers. Decomposers you already know. Okay, we do not have to read again. Decomposers are your dead earthworm or the detrivores or the microorganisms or the fungal elements. These all are your decomposers. Now we talk about producers, autotrophs. Okay, they are organisms that synthesize food. Okay, the organism who synthesize the food, who can produce their own food, they do not have to take the food from somewhere else, they can prepare their own food, they are called autotrophs. Okay, in a terrestrial ecosystem, major producers are herbaceous and woody plants. Okay, all the plant which is present on the land, they are autotrophs. All the algae present on the earth, they are autotrophs. All the bryophytes, all the pteridophytes, all the gymnosperms, all the angiosperms, these all are autotrophs. Okay, primary producer in ecosystem are phytoplanktons, algae and higher plants. The energy trapped by the producer is passed to the consumer of the organism. Consumer or the organism dies. Okay, see, the energy which is produced by your plant, it is transferred to the consumer and consumer eat that energy and take that energy. Okay, next, consumer, heterotrophs. These are the animals that directly or indirectly depend on the plant for food. Okay, directly means they go directly and eat the plant, or indirectly means they will wait and they will take the product of the plant. Okay, so it includes three things: primary consumer, which is your herbivores; secondary consumer, that is your primary carnivores; and tertiary consumer, that is your secondary carnivores. Okay, so primary consumer, that is your herbivores, feed on plant, example insect, birds, mammals, mollusks. Okay, secondary consumer, that is your primary carnivore, feed on herbivores, example frog, fox, man, etc. And tertiary consumer is your secondary carnivores which feeds on primary carnivores, example lion, tiger, wolf. Okay, and sometimes human also. Okay, man इधर भी आ सकता है और इधर भी आ सकता है. Man can come here also and here also. Okay, so these are the examples of some primary consumer, secondary consumer, and tertiary consumer. That is your tertiary consumer, that is your secondary consumer, that is your primary consumer, that is your primary consumer, that is your tertiary consumer, and these are your secondary consumers. Okay. Now next is your food chain. Now we are going to see the energy flow in the form of a chain. Okay. So it is a series of group of organisms dependent on other for food. Okay. This relationship constitute a chain, hence is called a food chain. When one organism is dependent on the other organism for food, we can say that it is a food chain. Okay. So food chain in ecosystem is of two types: grazing food chain which is present on the land as well in water also, and detritus food chain which is mainly present on land, okay, and also present sometimes in water also, okay, aquatic world also, okay. So this is your food chain, normal food chain on land, and this is the food chain on aquatic bodies, okay. Both are grazing food chain, okay. So see, sun giving energy to grass, which is your primary producer. Now it is eaten by a grasshopper, which is primary consumer. Grasshopper is eaten by frog, which is your secondary consumer. Frog is eaten by your snake, which is your tertiary consumer, and snake is eaten by the hawk. It is an apex consumer. Okay, and in grazing food chain, okay, detrivores is always present at the last. Decomposers are always present at the last. While in detritus food chain, these detrivores, decomposers are present on the first position. Okay, means first is your detritus, then your detrivores. Okay, so grazing food chain GFC. Okay, it begins with producer that capture the solar energy and through photosynthesis feed the energy into the food chain. Okay, in the food chain there is unidirectional flow of energy from sun to producer and producer to various consumer. Okay, the energy is flowing only in one direction; it is not coming back like this. There is no U-turn of energy in food chains. Okay, either that food chain is grazing food chain or it is a that detritus food chain. Okay, usually there are maximum 4 to 5 tropic level in a food chain. If it is more than 5, it can be 6, it can be 7, then that food chain is unstable. Okay, that food chain is nearly going to be shut down. Okay, so next is the detritus food chain, or we can call it saprophytic food chain. Okay, this food chain begins with the decomposition of dead organic matter. Means the first trophic level of this food chain is occupied by dead leaves or dead organism or detritus. Okay, the detritus food chain is always start with your decomposing material, or we call them detritus. Okay, so in this food chain, primary consumer are bacteria and fungi. Okay, the first thing is that primary consumer is your fungi and bacteria, then it is eaten by insects, and insects then eat on the plant, then plant is eaten by birds, and birds eaten by large birds. Okay, note in detritus food chain, energy flows either very slow, yet magnitude of energy is great. Means the energy movement of energy from one trophic level to another trophic level is very slow, but the magnitude of energy, means the level of energy going from one trophic level to another trophic level is very high, and the vice versa in grazing food chain, the movement of energy from one trophic to another trophic level is very fast, while the magnitude of energy in grazing food chain is very slow. Okay, in mangrove vegetation, this food chain goes up to the big organisms. Okay, dead mangrove leaves then eaten by your bacteria and fungi, then fungi and bacteria eaten by aphids, mollusks, crabs, or nematodes, then these organisms eaten by small fishes, and small fishes eaten by tiger. Okay, this is the food chain present in mangrove forest. Mangrove forest means your Sundarban. Okay, now next tropic level. Now we are talking about tropic level. Okay, tropic level is nothing. This is your first tropic level. This is second tropic level. This is third tropic level. Or we can see here. This is your. Let's see. ये T1 tropic level 1. This is your T2. This is your T3. This is your T4. This is your T5. So these are different tropic levels which we denotes as T1, T2, T3, T4, T5. Okay. Now tropic level that I said now. The place of position of occupied by organism in the food chain is known as tropic level. Okay. It can be T1, it can be T2, it can be T3, it can be T4, it can be T5. Okay. But the main thing, the most important thing is T1 is always occupied by plants in grazing food chain. Again, I am saying the important line, very important line. Thus, T1 is always occupied by plants in grazing food chain. While in decomposing detritus food chain, T1 level is always occupied by dead organic matter, which we call detritus. Okay, so that thing is written here. Producer occupy the first trophic level, the herbivores primary consumer occupy the second level, and the carnivore, which is secondary consumer, occupy the third level. Okay, the amount of energy decreases at successive trophic level. Only 10% of energy is transferred to each trophic level from lower trophic level to higher trophic level. Okay, and this is called 10% law of energy transfer given by Lindemann 1947. Okay, so the number of trophic level in a grazing food chain is restricted to 4 to 5 levels. Okay, the number of trophic level is not more than 5. If it is more than 5, then there is high loss of energy, that food chain is unstable. Okay, at each trophic level, mass of living material or particular time is called standing crop. Okay, see this. See, this is a food chain. Okay, in which producer we have, primary consumer we have, secondary consumer we have, tertiary consumer we have, and top consumer we have. So this particular producer is your standing crop. This standing crop, this is a standing crop, this is a standing crop, this is a standing crop. Standing crop, basically it is the biomass of an organism which is present in a particular trophic level. Okay, just like in this, primary consumer is grasshopper. So the weight of grasshopper is the standing crop of that food chain. Okay, so this is the particular scenery in which you can see a food chain properly, in which you will see that plant is eaten by insect, insect eaten by a small bird, and small bird is eaten by a large bird. Okay, in every movement you are seeing that 10% of energy is going from one trophic level to another trophic level, and 90% energy is escaping from the environment. Okay, some important points, as I say, in aquatic ecosystem, GFC is major conducting flow of energy. Okay, in terrestrial ecosystem, much amount of energy flow through DFC than GFC, because you know in DFC flow of energy is low, but the magnitude of energy is very high. While in your GFC, flow of energy very fast, but the magnitude of that energy is very low. Okay, DFC may be connected with GFC in some levels. Okay, some organisms of DFC are prey to GFC animals. Okay, the DFC animals are the prey of GFC animals, means the smaller animals which comes under DFC, they can be eaten by large animals which is present in GFC. Okay, this is your food web. Okay, when many food chains comes together and forms a web-like structure, then it is called food web. Again, when many food chains comes together and forms a web-like structure, it is called food web. Okay, and food web is the main thing which is present in the nature. Food chain does not exist in nature truly. Okay, in nature food web exists truly. Okay, because there is nothing like that deer is only eaten by tiger. Deer can be eaten by wolf. Deer can be eaten by that fox. Deer can be eaten by leopard. Deer can be eaten by jaguar. Okay, so it is not particular food chain is there. There is mainly a food web. Okay, food web, it is an intermingling, or that when many food webs comes, or many food chains comes together, it forms your food web. Okay, then ecological pyramids. Okay, now we have to make the food chain into form a graph, and we use this pyramid graph. Okay, so represent food chain in the graphical form, we draw a pyramid. Okay, and that thing is called ecological pyramids. There is three types of ecological pyramids. First one is your number pyramid, second one is your biomass pyramid, and third one is your energy pyramid. Okay, so first we have pyramid of number or number pyramid. Okay, in this pyramid we are going to talk about the number of organism present in a particular trophic level. Okay, again I am saying number of organism present in a particular trophic level, that thing is called number pyramid. Okay, so here you can see this is the pyramid of forest. Okay, So in this you are saying that on producer is the occupy the lowermost region of the pyramid, then upper we go primary consumer, then upper secondary consumer, then tertiary consumer, then quaternary consumer, or we can call them top consumers. Okay, so in every step, every level of this pyramid, 10% of energy is flowing. Okay, so as you know, the base of the pyramid is mainly occupied by producers, while the top of the pyramid is occupied by top consumers. Okay, this is the ecosystem. This is the pyramid of number of your aquatic ecosystem. See, 100 that number of that pyramid, that phytoplankton, then zooplankton, then small fish, then large fishes. Okay, so this is the pyramids of number present in the ecosystem. Okay, next thing, but there is one thing. These two pyramids, pyramid of forest and pyramid of aquatic ecosystem, you are seeing these pyramids are upward. Okay, they are not opposite, they are not ulta. Okay, they are upward. Okay, upright, they are not inverted, they are upright. Okay, but the ecosystem of a tree, okay, we are talking about a single tree, it is inverted because tree is a single thing. Okay, now on that tree many birds are there, on that many birds bugs are there, and on that bugs many fleas are there. Okay, so that is the pyramid of number of the tree is always inverted, and you need sometimes that type of questions is asked. They ask which ecosystem have inverted pyramid of number, and answer is your tree ecosystem. Okay, because tree is a single thing, it is not in large amount. Okay, so this is the ecosystem pyramid, ecological pyramid of number for a tree ecosystem, and this thing is the ecological pyramid of number for forest ecosystem, and this is for aquatic ecosystem. Okay, now next is your pyramid of biomass. Okay, in this we are talking about the weight, particular weight of organism, the weight of organism present in a particular trophic level. Okay, so if when you talk about the grassland pyramid, okay, terrestrial pyramid, it is always upright. Okay, see, producer, many producers come there, you will make them weigh, and you found that they have more weight. Then your herbivores, that is your 100 kg, then your primary carnivores 10 kg, and top carnivore 1 kg. Okay, so this is your pyramid of biomass, in which weight of that standing crop is decreasing when you are going towards the top of the pyramid. Okay, so the pyramid of biomass in grassland in terrestrial ecosystem is always upright. Okay, while when you come in aquatic ecosystem, the pyramid of biomass is inverted because the weight of producers is very low in comparison to the top carnivore. Okay, top consumer, the weight of shark is much more than the weight of all the zooplankton present in a sea. Okay, again I am saying the weight of shark is much more than the weight of all the phytoplankton present in the ocean. Phytoplankton basically they are microorganism plants which is present in water bodies. Okay, so weight of your phytoplankton is very less, while the weight of a single shark is very much. That's why the ecosystem pyramidal, the ecological pyramid of your ecosystem, aquatic ecosystem is inverted. Okay, then pyramid of energy. There is one thing which you have to गांठ बांध देंगे. Okay, means you have to remember this thing absolutely, that all the pyramid of energy in ecosystem, they are always upright, they are never inverted. Okay, all the pyramid of energy, either you are talking about tree ecosystem, either you are talking about aquatic ecosystem, forest ecosystem, desert ecosystem, dry ecosystem, cold ecosystem, tundra ecosystem, evergreen ecosystem, tropical ecosystem, temperate ecosystem, all the ecosystem having a single energy pyramid is, that is upright pyramid. Okay, this is okay, this is the energy pyramid which is same for all ecosystem, which is upright always, and it is your percentage wise. Okay, 100% primary producer, then 10% primary consumer, 1% secondary consumer, 0.1% third level of consumer, 0.01% apex producer. Okay, last, limitations of ecological pyramid. So there is some limitations of this graphical representation of food chain. First, you cannot accumulation. You cannot count, you cannot apply these pyramids on food web, because food web is the composition of many food chains, and in pyramid you are talking about a single food chain only. Okay, so food webs are not being calculated with the help of these pyramids. Okay, so there I am taking, it does not accommodate food webs. Okay, saprophytes are not given any place. Okay, till now you are not heard anything related to detrivores, saprophytes, bacteria, fungus. Okay, these all are absent in this eco pyramidal representation. Okay, it assumes a simple food chain, something that almost never exists in nature. Okay, as I said previously, simple food chain never exists in nature. Okay, deer is eaten by tiger also, same time it is eaten by wolf also, same time it can be eaten by your fox also, same time it is eaten by leopard also, same time it is eaten by jaguar also. So a simple normal food chain does not exist in nature. Food web exists in nature. Okay, food web exists in nature. Next, it does not take into account the level, same species belonging to two or more tropic level. See, sometimes what's happen, if we are talking about, see, normal food chain, I will give this thing by an example. See, there is one food chain in which you have grass, okay, which is eaten by grasshopper. Okay, grasshopper eaten by frog, frog eaten by snake, and snake eaten by hawk. Okay, now this line is saying it does not take into account the level, same species belonging to two or more tropic levels. Okay, see, in this food chain you are seeing that T1 is with grass, T2 is with primary consumer, T3 is with your secondary consumer, T4 is with tertiary consumer, and hawk T5 is with top consumer. Okay, so in this you are seeing that frog having T3. Okay, T3 tropic level is occupied by frog, but in same ecosystem, in same place, this thing can also happen. See, grass eaten by grasshopper, then frog, and frog directly eaten by hawk. So this thing is also can happen in nature. Okay, this is not a fixed thing. Ki grass is eaten by grasshopper, grasshopper is eaten by frog, frog is eaten by snake, snake is eaten by hawk. This thing is not occurring in nature fully. Okay, this thing can be also happen. Grass is eaten by grasshopper, grasshopper eaten by frog, frog is eaten by directly by hawk. So you misses one tropic level. Okay, so this thing is not accountable in your ecological pyramid. Okay, in ecological pyramid you cannot identify, you cannot justify these things. Okay, so this is your ecosystem chapter, very interesting chapter related to your nature, related to your ecosystem, which is present by your near time, near area. Again, I'm saying one question which you have to give answer in comment section, and in next video I will discuss the answer. So my question is that why productivity of ocean is less and of land is more. Why productivity of ocean is less and of land is more? On other hand, when we see that ocean is more on earth and land is less on earth, still why ocean is having less productivity and your land having more productivity? Or I can write this question more clearly, you can see that thing also. Earth have more water than land, but why water ecosystem having less productivity and land having more productivity? This is the question of the day, that why earth having more water than land, but why water ecosystem having less productivity and land having more productivity. This is the question for today, and thank you for listening the lecture. Like, share and subscribe, and never forget झुकने का नहीं.